It's another side that like wants to take more, wants to go that one more round, because like going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of One More Round of the Rocky Series podcast. I am your host, Orion, and with me, of course, is Katie. Katie, how you doing this morning?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, too. We're just waiting for Kyle. We're going to start without him, I should say. Kyle just woke up. He slept in, so totally understandable. So he's going to get himself prettied and dolled up and his hair combed and teeth brushed and have a coffee or whatever. But he'll join us. But before he joins us, it's actually kind of good that he's not here, because last episode, you folks will remember that Katie and I, and sort of Kyle, but particularly Katie and I, had a discussion about memory and about the trivia question, that whole shenanigans. Of course, I'm sure people will remember it, so I won't hash it out too much longer. However, I did find the clip. I inserted the clip into the podcast episode showing that I indeed was correct, but so was Katie. And you're thinking, well, Ryan, how can that be? How can you both be right? Well, I didn't understand, and I don't even know if you said it, Katie, but there was a third. there was three questions regarding Drago's clothing, and so I didn't even consider a third choice. So my brain went to, oh yeah, this had been asked before, and that's it. And you were part of a third question. So there were three. So I didn't see here memory. I didn't recall three questions. Mm-hmm. I recall two. Memory is so false and so crazily false. So you were right. There was one that you were a part of as well. And what was the item of clothing that you were asked? Do you remember that?
The robe. They were both in reference to the robe.
So which one was it? Oh, was there two fights for the robe? Is that what it was? So two
The question that I was remembering and why it seemed familiar is it was a true or false question whether or not Drago wore the same robe for both fights or something like that, and we had a discussion about
it was the same robe, and then a color robe, and gloves. Okay, so I had some fun with it. I went on our group chat that Kyle's a part of course, for the podcast. Said, yeah, I found the video, and then Katie kept going on about it, and rightfully so. But I was like, what are you talking about? So we were hashing it out, and Kyle was like, shut up, yelling at us to shut up. So it's kind of good that he's not here, because we're going to wrap this up. And he doesn't even listen to the podcast. So when he pops on, he's going to think that we didn't even talk about it. We're not going to bring it up. So actually, let's just see if he brings it up on his own. So don't even bring it up. Don't talk about it. Nothing. Okay. Got it. All right. So that's over. There was three Drago robe questions. Now we've got that all cleared up. All right. Memory is funny. But we do have an email from our top emailer, Michael from the Screeners podcast.
He says, hi, Ryan, Katie, and Kyle. Some thoughts on episode 11. Forgot to point out in the last email that the scene with Rocky and Rocky Jr. in Rocky Jr.'s bedroom in the director's cut is the last scene with Rocky Jr. in the film, because the rest of the scenes with Rocky Jr. in the original film feature the robot, and we know how many of those scenes got cut in the director's cut. If you notice in the original cut, when Paulie, Duke, and Rocky are getting off the plane, it's an up-close shot of each character one at a time. But in the director's cut, it's a wide shot, and all three end up in frame as they're leaving the plane. Just an interesting choice by Sly there. I also thought the Rose Bowl line didn't make sense. It's always been played on New Year's Day in the afternoon. Maybe Paulie was being hyperbolic.
Maybe, sure.
Yeah. And as far as his comics, maybe he was thinking they lost his luggage, because I would think he'd pack some of them in there. I take Paulie's comment, it's a good place to die, as a resignation of his circumstances. Like all the pent-up frustration just released after his stumble. And now it's a resignation of he's in here in the middle of Siberia, and now he has to make do with it. I don't think Paulie is trying to be funny here. It's like a mixture of depressed and residual frustration. And remember, the line that immediately got swapped out there wasn't the vacation line. It was him cursing.
Oh, he does say, "Goddamn." He does remember that. Which cut
Uh-huh.
was that where he does that? Was it the original?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
so I think that's maybe what he's saying. Also, if you notice, the original cut, Polly is kind of left in the snowdrift, and then the scene cuts. In the director's cut, he does get back up and trudges back towards the cabin before the scene cuts. I always appreciate the discussion, whether agreeing or disagreeing, being reminded of things already knew or finding new things while watching. Keep up the great work, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Always great insight. Great things that people catch when they're on the other side of the microphone, so to speak, which is great. But sometimes when you're in front of the microphone, when you're talking about these things, you don't catch all the nuances, even the three of us together. Speaking of the three of us, Kyle, no pain, Kyle, you are here. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Hey, guys.
Did you have a party last night? What's going on?
No, I think my body just needed that extra rest.
Sure.
I went to bed at 10:30 last night.
Wow.
So I usually wake up at like 6:30, but for some reason I just had a little extra sleep this morning.
You're a growing boy.
Yeah.
You need your sleep. All right. Well, good to see you. That was it for the emails. Again, folks, I mean, Michael he does a great job with his emails, but be like Michael. We'd love to hear from other voices from the show. We do record every 2 weeks, so you'll be able to get in there, no problem. Yeah, Donald brought up a good comment in our chat right now. Again, join our Discord, join our Facebook, all that stuff, because you get the links to where you can join these live recordings if you want to watch us live. Donald brought up a good point. I think we are going to be hitting the montages today. It's titled as such, but I think we're going to do it because there's really just one scene before the montages starts. He says, soundless training montage. Let's go. I know the copyright. Guys, we all know the music. We all know the score. I wish I could play it, but it's just going to get copyright stricken and or blocked. It might even get blocked. It's funny how the visuals can be shown, no problem, but music is such a stickler for YouTube. It's so weird. All right, here we go, folks. Oh, actually, I want to plug really quickly. Katie, you're doing your Retromade podcast. So what's the next episode for the Retromade podcast?
Executive Decision just came out.
Yep.
The next episode, I think I'm going to do Youngblood.
Oh, wow.
Hockey movie.
Yeah. Who's the actress that's in that again?
Cynthia Gibb.
Yeah, she's so pretty. Yeah, I think she has a nudie scene in that one too. Funny enough. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing your discussion. I mean, she's a gorgeous '80s gal. I'm looking forward to hearing that episode. It's still a movie I haven't seen. I believe Rob Lowe's in it. I know it's hockey too.
Yeah. Well, for the ladies, we get Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze, and Keanu Reeves is in it too.
Oh wow, yeah, Canadian. Because I think it's a Canadian film as well.
Keanu Reeves actually plays hockey. Yeah, he's not like a pro, obviously, but he played hockey growing up in Canada, and I think he was a goaltender.
Oh, cool. And check out my Ed Zwick podcast. It's called Zwick's Flicks. Check it out. Katie and I, at the time of this recording and or release, it will be out. The Legends of the Fall episode. It's a beast to edit, but a good beast to edit because it's just an incredible film. We did a lot of recording on that. Check out our Legends of the Fall review of that movie on Ed Zwick's Filmography podcast. I'll post the link in the show notes as well. Okay, here we go. Get into it. We're going to start with the original cut. We've entered the cottage. I might even have to mute this part because of the stupid Chipmunk song, but we'll see. I know. It never ends. Here we go.
All right, you chipmunks. Ready to sing your song?
What was the name of that song again, Kyle? Because that was a trivia question that Jared actually got. Do you remember what the name was?
No, I just know I got that one wrong.
I think it's something silly, like it's either called Christmas Song or Chipmunk Song. I remember when that was one of the trivia questions. I believe it's called, it's odd. It's either the Christmas Song or the Chipmunk Song, which I think it's Chipmunks. It was an odd name for a Christmas song by the Chipmunks. I think it was just called the Chipmunk Song. Paulie's listening to it on his headset, of course, roasting a single marshmallow over a single flame on a candle. And Tony's playing chess with the homeowner here.
It's a very cozy scene.
It is.
It seems really nice. You see like this harsh Russian environment earlier, and now you're chilling out in this cabin. It's not so bad.
It is nice. I do like how Tony says they're checkmate friend. I love how Tony has called him friend already after. I think we're to assume this might be the first night of them being there. It's nighttime now because Rocky's upstairs putting pictures up on the mirror. Tony right away is just ingratiated himself to this Russian neighbor, checkmate friend.
In chess is like the Russian game, right? Like they love chess. So Tony's beating them at their own game, kind of showing these Ruskies how it is.
Well, that's
Do
what I
you
like
guys know
too.
how to play?
Oh yeah.
I don't. I have no idea how to play chess.
Really? Yeah, that's it. No,
God, listeners, please tell me I'm not the only one that doesn't know.
It's
how to
embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing. No, I think I don't. I think it might be a girl thing. No offense, because my wife doesn't play, and I'm not even saying that. I think the majority of men know how to play. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I might be aging myself, but even when I grew up, it was all the guys played chess.
Really?
You didn't really see. I mean, of course, girls know how to play, but I don't recall ever playing against a girl or female when I was a kid. That's when I played the majority of it was when I was a kid. I don't know, Kyle, did you see a lot of females playing chess or?
No, I don't think so.
I wonder why that is. I wonder, that's of course, what do you call it? Anecdotal. There's no science behind that. Just observed my observing. Becky doesn't know how to play either. I've asked her. She doesn't know how to play. So there you go.
Well,
It's
now
actually,
you have something to work on, Katie.
yeah, it's fun. I'm not good at it. I just know how to play. Right, I can lose within the rules very easily.
Yeah, if you learn, you'll probably beat one of us. Not in no time.
It's more for decoration in a guest room downstairs. Yeah. Mhm.
And that's the beauty of chess. They have some incredible artwork and pieces. Yeah. Aesthetically, it's a very pretty game too. All right. So I love how even in this movie, the Americans win at chess. You know, the poor Russians can't even win the game of chess. It has to be the American that wins. Yeah. So the Russian, though, he actually knocked over all the pieces.
Yeah, you're supposed to knock over like the king when you lose.
It sounded like he knocked over quite a few. It sounded almost like he might have been frustrated. Like, ugh, screw this game. Maybe not. We don't see his face, but we just see his hand knock over all the pieces. So Rocky's upstairs. He's putting pictures up of his son, the mansion, Drago, of course.
It's very reminiscent of his room in the original Rocky. He's got all those pictures up on his mirror.
Oh,
and then Adrian asks about them.
Now, I almost want to go to the director's cut because I don't think anything different is said between Tony and Rocky, but for Kyle, you need to see the director's cut because something happens right before Tony starts talking. So why don't we just go to the director's cut? Kyle, you're going to, I don't want to spoil it. I just want to hear your thoughts. No chipmunks playing. That was taken out and just a musical score was put in place.
Good call.
We still see Paulie enjoying the music, but nothing's heard. It's just a background score. Do you like it better or do you want the chipmunk song playing?
Chipmunks, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is more serious again, but yeah. I grew up with the chipmunks, man.
I agree. Sly goes, no, I don't like the chipmunks. Maybe it's a licensing thing. That could have been it to get the rights again for the song. It's cheaper not to have the song because he would have to buy the rights again for the director's cut.
I doubt he would. But
you're right. He kept all the Survivor songs and everything in there. So who knows? You're right. I don't know what the chipmunks goes for.
Rocky, Sly here, this Henley that he has on that's really tight. It makes him look so good. He is just, it's a great look.
Oh, yeah. He looks fantastic. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, Kyle, you ready?
I'm ready.
Check it out. Watch this. So he's putting the pictures up.
No, maybe I can't win. Maybe the only thing I can do is just take everything he's got. But to beat me, he's gonna have to kill me. And to kill me, he's gonna have the heart to stand in front of me. And to do that, he's gotta be willing to die himself. I don't know if he's ready to do that.
For our audio listeners, something that was different here with the director's cut of Vice. The original was we get a close-up of him putting the picture up of Adrian, which we didn't get in the original cut. They showed it here in the director's cut, the close-up of the face of Adrian. That was not done in the original. So that's a good addition. But, of course, what was taken out in the director's cut in one scene has been placed over in a voiceover in this scene, that staircase dialogue. He's saying this to himself instead of to Adrian now. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Not a fan. Not a fan. I never liked that line when he said it to Adrian in the first place. Oh, now you're repeating this bullshit to yourself. For me, it's just the idea of being an adult and getting in a fight to the death type of thing. I find just inconceivable. If I'm going to be more charitable, I'm going to say Rocky saying, okay, you know what? This guy is a lot bigger and stronger and has a lot of advantages over me, but I want this more than him. And I don't know if he's willing to put in when I'm willing to put in. I don't know if he's willing to go as far as I'm willing to go.
The grammar, I know we've talked grammar, but the grammar he uses is actually not correct. During this inner dialogue, I don't know if this was re-recorded, because is this the exact same dialogue he was saying to Adrian, or did Sly re-record it for the scene, or was it used originally for the scene? Because his voice sounds young here. It doesn't sound like 2022 Sly. So a lot of questions in my head here. I can't quite recall what the exact dialogue was to Adrian, but
I feel like it's not the same.
It sounds like he talks to Drago and about Drago in the same sentence. Is what I'm getting at. It sounds like there's a dialogue because he says "your," So listen, he talks about Drago, and then he's talking to Drago.
I didn't catch that. The reason I thought it was different was because just like the tone and speed, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, to me, sounds different. Like, it doesn't sound the same as when he said it to Adrian. But do
you think it's a re-recording, or like that Sly did a voiceover in 2022, or is this dialogue that was used in the original film maybe for the scene, but they took it out, put it with like?
Yeah, I think it's probably more that. I don't think it's not Sly's 2024 voice.
It doesn't sound like it.
I'd be shocked if they said it was. Like, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to the original. So it's either they probably did a couple of takes. So I think they just took a previously recorded version of that and manipulated it a little bit, maybe to slow it, to make it fit here for the inner dialogue. And I also do not care for the inner dialogue.
The only time we've ever heard inner dialogue in this whole franchise is, remember the other time? It's one more time.
Oh, in Rocky 5?
I don't think, did he do it in Rocky? Oh, well, yeah. No, he speaks out loud. We see his inner thoughts about remembering Mickey, sure, but he's talking to himself in another film. And that one,
I don't remember.
Rocky Balboa, when he's in the ring. Remember what you told the kid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. But so here we're actually hearing his inner thoughts, which is odd. It's an odd choice to hear the inner thoughts of a character that doesn't happen very often in films, to actually hear the narration of a character, unless that was the theme of the movie or the character, just to have it come in out of the blue. Like, this is the only time we've ever heard.
That's why I don't really like it. It doesn't fit.
No.
Yeah.
Too bad we didn't hear his inner thoughts throughout the franchise. That would have been quite interesting.
We're shown it through montages.
Fair enough. We'll stick with the director's cut, because I believe the dialogue that him and Rocky have is similar, but I think the only difference is, you'll see at the end, is they have a longer hug, I think, at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, champ. Can I come up?
Yeah, sure.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Some kind of weather we having up here, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
But for what you got to do, it's good. Toughen you up.
I guess.
I know you're going to have to do almost everything alone up here. But you know I'll be with you.
Yeah, I know.
Apollo was like my son.
It's funny, the only thing that Rocky does by himself is the jogging. I don't know, the outdoor exercises, Tony's not a part of. Even Paulie was out there for a few of them, for the axe chopping and for the sled, which we'll see. But I don't know sure what Tony's saying. You got to do this all on your own, because all the indoor stuff, Tony was always there for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe it might be like, Tony's not that involved, though, even if he is there. He might just be there kind of for moral support more than like a traditional training role.
Yeah. Or maybe just for the corner man in the ring fight, maybe.
Yeah, I think Tony's really, like, this journey, this fight, it's you are doing it. I don't necessarily think he's talking about the training.
Oh, I always thought he was. Yeah.
I thought he was talking about the training, because we know he's there. He's like, you're going to have to do everything on your own. This is to toughen you up. This sounds all of the physical. I think Tony's there for, yes, the ring fight, meaning like he's got to give him the stuff in the ring that calls out the shots in the ring and, you know, hit him in the middle and all the other stuff. You need to have Tony for that. But I think specifically for this physical training to get to the ring, the idea is that Rocky's on his own. No sparring partners, no Tony. Paulie is a dead weight, and that's about it.
Is that 5 o'clock shadow? Is that just like one day, do you think?
That's like, real on Sly, but the beard that he has at the end of the training was fake.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Sorry, Katie. I know. Because they do a good job with it, but this here stubble, right, to indicate that he probably hasn't shaved since they flew out of the States.
Yeah. I raised him. And when he died, part of me died. But now, you're the one. You're the one that's going to keep his spirit alive. You're the one that's going to make sure that he didn't die for nothing.
This whole he's here because Paul died in the ring. So you're the one to make sure that Paul didn't die for nothing. Let's just pretend he does lose in the ring. Not die. Let's say Rocky just loses the match in the ring. What does Tony say to Rocky now? Well, I guess Apollo died for nothing.
Yeah, it's like, you did your best. You get that speech. Yeah, what is died for nothing? He did die for nothing. He died for nothing. The best thing you could say is that he died doing what he loved. That he was a boxer. That he loved boxing. He fought to the end of his life, albeit a very short life. His death was tragic, in a way senseless. Rocky fighting Drago doesn't change that one way or the other.
No pressure, Rocky.
Yeah.
Don't lose, or Apollo's death meant nothing.
You're the one. You're the one to make sure Paul doesn't die for nothing. Had Rocky been more assertive and maybe a little bit of a dick, he could have said, so Tony, what are you saying? What is on me to make sure? I guess me showing up right now should already be it. That should be it. The fact that I showed up, the fact that I'm here and do all that I can, That's all I'm in control of. But if Drago beats me, I am actually not in control of that. It says he's just a better fighter than me. Someone has to lose. Are you saying if I lose, Paul will die for nothing? Like, don't put that on me.
Right.
I'm trying to think of ways to make this work. The only thing I could really think of, if you go from like a patriotism lens, that Apollo represented the United States and Apollo died to this Russian. Apollo's point, what he was trying to do maybe, was to show that the United States is better than the Soviet Union via this athletics. He failed to do that. And so Rocky has to pick up the torch and has to beat the Soviet Union and finish the mission Apollo set out to do. That kind of gives some fulfillment to what Apollo wanted. Otherwise, he died and didn't accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. That's the closest thing I could think of. But I think there's a ton of problems with that too.
You're going to have to go through hell, worse than any nightmare that you ever dreamed. But in the end, I know you'll be the one standing.
Again, it's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Donald does bring up a great scenario. Imagine if Rocky lost and they still went broke.
Oh my God.
Tony says, you're the one who's going to be standing. It's going to be you.
Tony's always believed in him. He has unwavering faith in Rocky. Tony really does believe that. I think in Tony's mind, Rocky's going to win this fight.
This is the trainer speech to pump him with the pep rally.
For sure. I'll try, he says. Then they hug. He says, I'll try again, which I don't think he says twice in the original. And then do you see this longer hug here? This very look at the intimate hug there. Yeah. I don't think that's in the original cut, is it?
See, that's an unusual man hug right there. Typically, a man hug involves back pats to kind of break the tension.
Yeah, it's not like bro-y though. It's like in their it's showing their closeness, like they're like family. Like you'd hug your family.
Yeah, the back pats is more like a bro type of hug.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a cuddle. It's a bit of a cuddle.
Which is, I think, it's good. There's a lot of internalized homophobia around that if you have like an intimate hug like that, it's like, oh, you gay, bro? There's no reason you can't have a hug like that.
Of course. And that's why it might have been taken out of the original cut, but it's back here in the director's cut. Because,
good point.
It's a different time and size older and wiser and realizes, like, it's silly to be embarrassed by that.
So I was thinking, too, when Rocky said, I'll try, I thought of if you were making like a YouTube video of this scene, you could splice in from Empire Strikes Back the Yoda, and he's like, do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, you
good voice.
That's very good. Very good voice and very true. That's right. Yoda would have come in and told Rocky that. Imagine if Yoda was Rocky's trainer. If you're good at some sort of video editing, you could have, instead of Mickey in Rocky's corner, you could somehow insert Yoda in Mickey's corner. That would be hilarious, and have his voice, or just have his voice come over Mickey's voice. Yeah. They look at each other. Toy says, you know what to do. Do it. Nike, just do it. And I love that guitar lick that comes in. You hear that? It's a very subtle. It's a electric guitar strum, a one strum, and then it segues into Vince Cole's tone as he grabs Drago's picture. Or looks at it, I should say.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. As much as I love Bill Conti, and I love his music, that Vince Cole score for those little moments like that really sets apart this film in a good way. It gives it that edge of menacing.
I think you need to freshen things up a bit. I agree. Bill Conti's scores are timeless for these films. I was happy to see them come back, for example, in Rocky Balboa. But I think it was good that they tried something new for this film, and they gave Vince Cole a chance. I think he did a great job.
Now, I am going to have to, like Donald says, soundless training montage. We all know the music. I'm sorry. It's going to get cut from the broadcast on YouTube, which a good handful of our listeners do watch this on YouTube. So I wanted to be available. It's a great montage. It's montage 1 of 2. He looks over the landscape, which is beautiful. This is a Wyoming landscape. I assume that's all real ice on the house, right? Like that's all real?
That's real for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that worked out well, eh?
Yeah. Well, I know the snow on the ground looks real. It looks quite like not quite the dead of winter, but certainly.
Well, you see like the icicles melting where you can say, oh, the weather changes hour by hour. To me, that reminds me of spring. Kind of seems like you're like in kind of April or something, or March or April here.
Well, I like the shot here of these two individuals. I think it might be the father-son duo there. I'm not sure. Doing their chores outside in the winter here. But I just love how he's carrying like a burlap sack of some sort. It almost indicates time gone by. Rocky came from big, huge mansion in Philadelphia type place to this poverty-stricken
Yeah.
ramshack of a house, and this is like him going back to the basics, but in Russia. So this is even worse in the streets of Philadelphia.
Well, everything's primitive. Like you see a horse and buggy at one point, right?
I actually think that the person on the right nearest the cow is the wife based on the coat.
Yeah, we haven't seen the wife in the house.
Yeah.
Maybe she sleeps in the shed. Maybe.
She had Rocky's room, Rocky.
That's right. That's right. Somebody had to give up the room. That's right.
Or Polly or something like that. Who knows?
Well, we have this older couple here too, which I love. A classic.
They're probably like 30. They just look a little rough.
But oh my gosh, you're right. They're probably 38 in reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. Are they Russian, or did they find some people in Wyoming who?
No, this guy's probably like he's probably like a welder or something like that they just threw some clothes on.
I would love to know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a casting call? Were they literally just in the area?
I have no basis for this, but I feel like this is like somebody's parents or something. It's like, hey, you want a scene in the Rocky movie?
Oh,
We're just gonna put a babushka shawl on mom, and then put this dad in a coat, and and then throw him out in the winter.
I wonder about the caretaker, like the man that plays chess. He's shown a fair amount in this movie. I wonder who that is. Like, is he in anything else?
I don't know. Yeah. So it continues. He's running down the road. We see that little town or that he lives in or something. Passes the timing, or the editing doesn't quite make sense, because note that Rocky jogs past the horses and the sled. He jogs right by it, but we'll see later that he helps out. But so at this moment, he's jogging right by it. So he's not
I think
helping
maybe
he
can go by the horses more than one time, right? Like this time it was fine. The other time he helps out.
I don't know. It looked like the horses were struggling there a little bit. He was having, maybe you're right. Maybe he got out of it that time.
Yeah.
When I was younger watching this, that his running by them is what caused them to struggle. They were on a trajectory and they had to slow up or stall to let him pass.
Yeah.
And I always thought that he was the one that screwed it up.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, and now we get the juxtaposed modern Drago training, which I love.
What is that? The flux capacitor? We just watched Back to the Future as a family.
Yeah.
It's just so
I don't know why
high
they
tech.
show that.
But it looks like a flux capacitor from the DeLorean.
Yeah.
But what is that for? Like, because they open this up, they open it up, whoever they is, they open it up. We see these two, of course, if you're the audio listener, you'll know the scene. It looks like the either the flux capacitor on the Back to the Future or the warp drive on a Star Trek ship. It looks like.
Yeah. If you had to like look at it and be like, okay, this little thing has something where a sliding compartment opens up so you can view it. It's not like it's in the guts of the machine. To me, it's like, okay, it's something that has to be easily accessed. It's almost kind of like a fuse or something like that that you could switch out. Like that's the closest thing I could think of. Although it doesn't look like any fuse I've seen. But
It's weird. I don't really like, of all the things to show, that is kind of weird, but it lights up and I don't know. We're just like, look how high tech this is.
I think it's probably a power source of some sort. But again, why are we looking at this? But yeah, I get it. It's to show they're so advanced that the equipment and the computers that Drago's team is using is so advanced that we have items that they're using that we can't even in 2024 fathom what it could be powered for or what it.
And I do think this is like a good representation of the Soviet Union in the sense that their government will put a lot of money and effort into certain things, like say like their space program, where they seem really advanced, but then you go and like see day-to-day people and how they live and like that, and it's way behind. Almost like for them and like a lot of countries like that, they really put up this kind of facade.
Yeah, but meanwhile, everybody's back in the 1800s in real life.
Yeah, we're still in Drago's computer workout place. He's got these machines. It says here heart rate times blood pressure, product 2, whatever all that means there.
This is in English for some reason.
Yeah, that's in English. And what is also in English is his stair climbing or his climbing equipment is an American brand, which is fine. They bought American. See, that's all English writing there. Now here, that is Russian for cardiogram.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cardiogramma.
What I did is I took a snippet of the photo. I put it into my AI. I said, please translate and tell me what I'm looking at. I said, that's Russian for cardiogram. And it is pictures of 4 different pictures of a heart, showing the phases of a heart. So they're checking out Drago's heart rate or his heart muscles and the effects of the steroids on his heart. Of course, this is the classic, probably the most famous, probably the most watched on YouTube, quite frankly, training montage. I think if you were to do a YouTube count versus all the training montages, I think Rocky 4 probably has the most views. I think it's probably the most fun with the music, the juxtaposition between modern at the time and nature with Rocky.
Oh, were you talking? I was looking at Drago. Whew.
Dolph Lundgren, who plays Drago, incredible physique. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely. I don't see it. I see him with Brigitte Nielsen. If you told me they were together, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like
they totally
tracks.
Look like they go together.
They do look like they go together. Like that is casting 101, those two.
Someone who lives in a cold climate, I will say that Rocky's choice of what he wears, some of the things he does really frustrates me.
Oh,
so that jacket, I guess, is kind of warm because it has leather on the outside and like this fur or whatever on the inside. But still, like that's not really a very good winter jacket. His ears aren't covered. His face is really exposed. He has sucky gloves. He doesn't seem to be wearing good boots. And what really bothers me is he's running in the water. That's up. That would get in your shoes and like cause a lot of problems.
And his pants they're like yoga pants.
Yeah, like your legs would get really, really cold. That said, I don't wear like snow pants outside unless I'm outside for like hours or something, which I usually am not. But
he is.
Yes, exactly.
Well, he's running too, and that's the thing. You're going to warm up. This is wintry right now, but it's not. I mean, look at the civilian that lost his or has having trouble with the horse's carriage.
True.
He's just wearing a ball cap type hat or whatever it is. He's wearing a Russian hat with nothing covering his ears, so it's probably. So that's the thing. It is dead of winter because it's a Christmas fight, right? So I guess it's a warmer winter in Siberia right now. Sure.
It's a warm day. I mean, the weather does change from hour to hour.
That's right. Just wait 5 minutes. That's right. Rocky's done his running. I think what we saw here, folks, is that Rocky went for his run, did his loop. He comes back and Buddy's now stuck in this. Oh, I'll help you out. We just saw the beginning of the struggle and this poor guy's been stuck with his horses for 2 hours.
Yeah, because Rocky messed it up.
So I love how him helping the guy with his sled is equivalent to what Drago's, because they're showing you different, like what Drago's doing on the machines versus what Rocky's doing in nature and how they kind of compare to each other. So Rocky lifting the horse carriage out of the snow is the same as Drago doing those lats or whatever with his arms there.
And I love that while Drago's training, there are people in suits just observing this, overseeing. He's a lab rat or something, you know?
Yeah, and that handler guy seems to have a smirk on his face a lot of the time. Like he's like, oh, my guy is totally going to win this. Rocky has no chance. I also find it odd that other than Drago's sparring, they don't do a ton of boxing training. It's like a lot of weightlifting and like running and cardio and stuff, which is like, yes, you do that. Actually, I don't think that boxers weightlift a ton. I could be wrong on that, but from what I know, old school boxers definitely didn't. Like Muhammad Ali did not weight train. Maybe they do now. You think you'd be doing more punching bag and speed drills and getting your timing going and like all that stuff's super important, that they don't show any of that. And I think it's because Rocky can't really do that as much. So
you can't show it the side by side.
Yeah. Like Rocky does hit the pads a bit, but that's, I don't know.
It's kind of showing us that he doesn't really need that much skill. His punching power is he's just so strong that the boxing really doesn't even matter. He's just so strong.
That's fair. That's what they're showing too. We also know they're both working out just for their robe off. That's what they're doing. They're going to flex at each other in the ring. It's the disrobing of both men at the end of the film. That's what they're training for.
I think the Rushki guy has a point about genetics. Like I think Dolph Lundgren or Ivan Drago, some people just have better genes than others, and they're going to be buffer and bigger and like more athletic. And although Sly looks amazing, he looks super fit and really muscular here. Dolph Lundgren, Sly will never get to Dolph's level there. It's not in his genes.
And after Rocky helps the guy with the sled, he does the neighborly wave. I don't know why that killed it. Just, hey, you bet, buddy. I'm here to help you. See you tomorrow.
Well, yeah, and it's like they can't really communicate either, right? Like that guy really doesn't speak English.
So what's this measuring? What's this machine measuring? Because Drago's on this spinning thing with his hands. He's got the, like you do in the speed round with the punching bag. Well, he's holding on to like a rower type machine where he's going like this So I don't know if this is just showing you.
At the very bottom, I think it says
maybe?
RPM.
Okay, speed.
Although
so
these numbers seem awfully high. Like, is he really spinning that 1,700 revolutions per minute? I don't think so.
it's Drago, man. He can do it.
That's that's pretty fast.
So that's right. That's right. It goes.
Hey, I was wrong there. I forgot that Rocky was do. I thought Rocky just hit the pad. So Rocky's doing some actual boxing stuff.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. And Paulie's there, Tony's there. So yeah, that's to indicate that Drago's speed bag training is again all muscular, not necessarily precision. Where you could argue that Rocky's doing something harder because A, his hands are up higher, which is harder to do, and B, he's got to hit the bag. The timing is much more. I can do this. I can hold on to this and do this like a bicycle with my hands. But hitting the speed bag is about timing. I would think it would be harder.
The training Drago's doing is not very functional. It could increase your overall strength, but like in terms of you being able to move, like you kind of like what you're saying, being able to move and to hit and to actually box. Everything I've seen so far, other than the sparring we'll see, he's not doing any of that. In the fight, he fights awesome. So like,
But he does lose. So
yeah,
I mean,
Okay, so again, they're just back and forth between two fighters. Now Rocky's sawing wood. Now the weather's changed.
it's snowing. Oh yeah.
It was very sunny and warm earlier in the day. I don't know if this is late in the evening. I think what we saw in probably that was a morning thing. Now it's probably 4 in the afternoon type thing. He's sawing logs. And I love how the handlers or the people that are watching him or shadowing him. Why does the guy have to stand outside the car to watch Rocky?
No.
yeah, maybe they did like rock, paper, scissors to see who had to stand outside the car, even though
But
both of them could totally go inside.
He's appropriately dressed though. He has a long, heavy coat and one of those fur hat
Babushkas.
things.
I think they're called babushkas, but that's not
No,
correct.
babushka is
It's a
grandma.
grandmother or something. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I actually have one of those hats.
Oh, yeah?
It's from Azerbaijan, which is like a former Soviet republic.
Oh.
Now here is the Tony, Drago's Tony.
yeah.
We talked about him. He was like, who mentioned that Russia had ties with what country? That's why
Cuba.
That's right. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
I think some African countries too at the time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it could be Cuba.
So Russia was very forward. I like that. They were all about the DEI in Russia.
Yes.
There we go. So Drago's powerlifting. You're right. This is like, is he training for the Olympics? Is he training for a boxing match?
We're just shown like the incredible strength that he has. I love this. This is funny.
This is great. This is the classic scene of Rocky pulling Paulie on that sled in the snow. We're going to go back to Drago showing what he's doing on his machine and equivalent to that nature and machine. But okay, you'll see something really quickly. You have to watch for it, but we see a bit of Rocky's back just above his butt there with his skin is exposed there. I don't know if you ever caught that.
I have not ever noticed it before, but
you can see it coming out right now.
Yeah,
I think it might be only in the director's cut. I can't recall, but there's a scene coming up where you'll see a little bit of skin. You see some slice skin, so watch for it. Here we go. Right there a bit, and then right there. See?
Oh, yeah.
Something that gets chucked at Rocky. Did you see that?
I feel like his hat falls off or something.
Is it his toque?
It's his hat.
Oh, his hat was.
His
Okay.
hat came off. Yeah, I never noticed that before.
Is that in the original cut?
I don't think so.
I thought so. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay,
Whatever.
That's cool. His toque, as we say in Canada, or snow cap in the States, flies off. Okay, that's hilarious.
The important thing is that Rocky is being exposed to the elements.
That's right.
It is giving him a toughness and endurance that Drago just can't get inside his cozy little training nook.
This extra pulling here is not in the original. Him doing that extra pulling, I don't think that's in the original.
This has always kind of stressed me out. Not Rocky's version, but Drago's version, because it looks so hard.
Oh, yeah.
We get a lot of Drago skin, too.
We do.
In that.
We do. So here we get Sly. This is the thing. This is the Rocky character, yes, but at the end of the day, this is Stallone.
Yeah, he has to do all this shit.
He's doing this.
Yeah.
This is literally a flex. This is literally a flex. So for our listeners, this is the exercise where he's pulling himself up, pull-ups, wide arm, pull-ups, back. I don't know, man. Even Paulie or Burt, I was like, geez, it looks fantastic. Now Drago's going around that track. Rocky's doing the old log lift that he did in Rocky 2. He's reinvestigating that for the Rocky 4, but it's in the snow. Now we're going to the sparring partners are coming up for Drago. Rocky continues with the log. So Drago, of course, is chopping down sparring partners. That's the whole idea. He's chopping them down, getting knocked down. and Rocky is chopping a tree. Drago wins this round because I would rather spar with people than chopping a tree, I guess.
As a side note, Muhammad Ali was a tree chopper for his training. He used to do that.
I think you said that in the original.
I didn't know that was an actual thing people did to
I
train.
do agree. Muhammad Ali also sparred with people, though.
It's interesting that this could be a nod to Rocky 3. I remember when Rocky fought Thunderlips, Mickey suggested they get an axe to chop down Thunderlips.
Did he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, he did. He asked for a hatchet or an axe to chop down Thunderlips.
Right.
I'll see if I can find the clip and I'll insert it. He's thinking of Mickey's idea of chopping down a tree. This is a great scene here. I love this shot here. It's a nice wide, way off in the distance of the inside track that Drago's on. You just see a little tiny Drago doing his jog, which I do like about the Rocky IV training is maybe unlike some of the other films, especially with Apollo, we're kind of seeing the real training from the opponent here.
That's true. And it's like now it's dark. It's like late in the day, and all of the people that were there watching him aren't there anymore. It's just Drago by himself.
So what does that tell you? That he's taking this seriously.
Yeah.
So you see what you want about Drago. I think his own personal integrity is that he is taking this fight seriously. He does want to fight for himself, and as we'll find out later, that he fights for me, not for the Russian government.
Yeah, he's a competitor. He wants to do well in what he's doing.
Oh, I guess they are watching.
The trainers were watching through the window, but it was a two-way mirror, or what do you call those mirrored windows? So Drago might be wholly unaware that they're watching.
Oh, yeah.
So Drago continues to knock down sparring partners. Trees are being chopped. Okay, this scene here, Kyle, this is new.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is the only scene that's added, but we have an extra scene here for anyone that hasn't seen the director's cut. I love his outfit. He's kind of wearing all black. He's wearing a black snow cap, black toque, black clothes, and he's in the barn. He's just hitting the punching bag by himself in the barn.
Do you think there's anything to the fact that, Rocky is wearing black most of the time during his training, and then we cut to Drago is most of the time wearing white? Do you think there's anything to that? Purposeful?
I'm not sure. I'm not big on colors. I know Doug from the Rocky Minute podcast was big on colors in his show. What they could mean or what represent, I'm not into that so much. I don't know. I do like how we saw Drago running in the gym there. Sorry, there was a spotlight following him. Was there like a guy who's on a spotlight?
Oh my God.
See the spotlight following Drago as he's running? It's like someone's job is, you got to point the light at Drago. Anyways.
I think you kind of have to have Rocky in darker colors for these training scenes because he's surrounded by white snow.
Mm-hmm. True.
Fair.
Imagine right now where we're looking at if he was in white, it would be weird. And Drago being in white could just be a coincidence, but it seems like white is such a clean color, and it's almost like the sterilized lab kind of environment he's training in, like the clean, crisp white clothes like kind of fit with that.
Yeah, actually, that's probably why. Yeah, Kyle, you're so smart.
Oh yeah, I should mention there was a comment from our last episode. I forget the guy's name. Eccentric Views, I believe he's called. He said Kyle was on point as always. As always, Kyle, you're on point. Boy, why am I never as always? I don't.
Oh God, what is it? That's something that reminds me of what you said there. Something about what Paulie said in Rocky 3 or somewhere. Paulie said,
right.
Why am I not? So I don't know what it was, but it'll kind of be in like 20 minutes from now. I'll have to blurt it out.
You are very much usually always on point, but no, you got a fan, Kyle. That's great. You have a fan.
Yes, Donald says Drago's training outfit is great, and I concur. Ugh, all the outfits in this. This is so much candy for me, this movie, but
Yes,
especially this training sequence.
Oh.
Whew.
Well, sure. If I was like, I love watching the opening credits of Baywatch. I get it. I understand what you're saying. You're seeing slow-mo bodies that are nice to look at. I get it.
Okay, I remember now. Sorry.
That's fine.
That reminds me, just tongue in cheek, Ryan.
Right.
When Paulie was at the bar in Rocky 3, and he's like, "Hey, give Rocky my best." He's like, "I've been coming here 8 years. Why don't you give me Paulie your best?"
This is Eccentric Views. That's the name of his channel. He's giving Kyle his best. He said Kyle's analysis is spot on as usual. He says 4 kind of sucks, but the more I hear him discuss this movie, the more I get the feeling he secretly loves it, though. That's what he says.
Ooh.
I'm a closet Rocky 4 lover.
That's right. Yeah, it sounds like deny, or the more you deny, the more you love it. So Rocky's coming back from another run. Of course, who knows how much time has passed or whatever. He gets to the lodge. He's got the beard now, so however time it takes for the beard to grow. It's a fake beard. But I've said this before, and I'll say it 1,000 times. There was a period in Sly's career where he should have rocked the beard more. And in movies, he should have had roles where he got the beard, undercover cop film, in the woods type film, a cowboy film, something. Because when he rocks that beard, it looks great. And it's too late now. I hate to say it, but don't get me started. There's so many wasted years where he just grabbed too many stupid projects for the paycheck, and for his ego just ruined so many other chances of acting. It bugs me, but that's how life is. Anyways, this beard could have been used. He did it in Nighthawks, for example.
Yeah.
It looked great. Nighthawks. He did it here, and I think that's it. I can't think of another movie where he had a goatee, but is there any other beard movies that you can think of?
Did he have a beard at all in Cliffhanger?
No, but that would have been a good time to have one.
I hear you, and he does look good in it.
You're going to tell me because he wants to show off his face.
Well, and I want to see it. Beards are for people who have something to hide. If you don't have good bone structure, if you don't have a good jawline.
I've seen that. You're okay. Speaking as a man, I can say this to other men because most women don't have beards. Most women, but you're right. You're right about. Well, it's true. That's a fact. I'm saying the fact is most women don't. Some do. The point is, most men can grow beards. I can't. So I can't grow a beard. I think I have okay structure, but I've seen what you're talking about, Katie, where I've seen men shave their beards. You see it on TikTok too, or Instagram. My husband shaved his beard after 6 years, and the kids saw it for the first time. Whatever, Instagram, and the men, I'm like, oh, I can. You look more manly with the beard. It's weird. You took off the beard, and that guy in his face shape, he looked tougher. He looked more like a man's man, or whatever it was. I hate to say it. Takes off the beard, he looks like, oh, what? Where's your chin? Like you're saying, yeah, you're right. The beards can shape the face up here for men that might struggle down. You're right. Rocky or Sly doesn't need to do that, but I just think he looks cool.
I think this is one part that aged better because in 2024, beards are more popular than they would have been at this time.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Why is it a fake beard? Because he can grow a beard.
And it's not like it's a long one either.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wouldn't take him that long to grow that.
I think it's time and continuity. As you know, they have filming continuity. So it's like reshoots, out of order shoots. So it's like, oh, is this the beard one? So they only had this one scene, or no, actually the second training part has old beard, I believe that's right. So I think it's just continuity. That's like this part of the film, he's got the beard, everything else, no beard. Probably just continuity. It's just a show. He's been here for a month or two now, or at least a month. Now Adrian's showing up a month later, 2 months later, Adrian is showing up. How did she get there, I wonder?
She's a woman of means. She talked to a manager.
She talked to a manager and carried her way in.
Said, "I'm going," or else.
Can I just speak to all the people that talk about? I know it's a joke, but some people really believe it. Like, oh, they're the worst parents that left a kid home with the robot. They have help at the house. The house is full of help. People were hired. You don't have to film it. We get it. The kid's taken care of by some nanny. It's very common for rich celebrities who have nannies, who have full-time help. They can afford it. Robert's taken care of. Anyway.
That nanny can comfort Robert when his father's killed on TV on Christmas Day.
Your mom's not there either.
Imagine opening Christmas presents with the nanny.
Yeah. That is actually interesting. Both his parents aren't there for Christmas.
I bet you they got him some solid Christmas presents.
Oh man, he's fine.
You know what I mean? Like, oh fuck, I'm not going to be here for Christmas. I better really up my game.
Well, it's funny that we say that. We're like, oh yeah, they're going to treat the kid like crazy when they get back from Rocky 4. But then when we get back to Rocky 5, their life is in shambles. The poor kid never recovered. He never got his Christmas or any money back.
That's what aged him 5 years.
Enjoy those gifts while you can, Robert, because they're going to get auctioned off to pay your dad's debts.
All right, so Rocky sees Adrian. Here we go. And she's wearing the big, what do you got under that jacket? 20,
oh my
30
God.
sweaters?
Why can't they put her in something normal? What is she wearing, you guys?
Oh, you know what? I see that. I'm like, finally, this is a good coat for this weather.
Yes, come on. I mean, she's a beautiful woman with a nice shape. They're showing Rocky's shape off.
I know. You're right.
Look at those boots. Those are great boots. Adrian knows what she's doing. Rocky should be wearing stuff like this.
It's true, but I mean, come on.
What I love is she's already in this. She's already in this very thick outfit for the weather. was she waiting by the door? Like, was she getting like her timing was incredible? Or was she in that cabin? She would have been sweating like a pig in that cabin
Mm-hmm.
in those clothes, but her timing was perfect. She just got the outfit on, and Rocky comes down the road.
I couldn't stay away anymore. I missed you.
Oh, she missed Rocky.
I missed you.
Could you speak up, Rocky? You're about 10 feet away. You whispered. I know the microphone.
Why aren't they like walking towards each other yet?
I'm with you no matter what.
I never understood why Rocky repeats it back to her, no matter what. like,
You really mean that? Because I'm gonna be going farther than anyone's ever gone for training.
that's right. No matter what. Does he not repeat in the director's cut? Oh, Sly took it out.
Yeah, that was a good move.
Yeah, so we're watching the director's cut for our listeners. This is because the director's cut is pretty close to the original, but we can point out the differences. So there you go. In the original, Rocky repeats, no matter what. So I made fun of it. Sly agreed with my joke, and he took it out. He's like, yeah, it's kind of silly. Why did Rocky repeat that? It doesn't really make sense.
All right, men, listen up. If you want to be able to win a fight with your spouse or girlfriend, it's going to require you to silent treatment them by moving thousands of miles away and waiting them out. That's the only way you're going to win a fight.
Here we go. Here we go.
I know.
Adidas close-ups. I mean, come on.
I like the dirt licking up. Like, that's kind of a cool visual.
It's great. Is he like triple skipping? He's definitely double skipping, but is it triple?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's good with the jump rope.
Yeah, he is. Now, this upside down sit up, and then he holds it,
I think
right?
you see his bulge here a little bit.
You do. Yeah, I noticed it.
This is crazy. That's right here. Does he hold it right here? It's insane what Sly's doing. I mean, that's a flex because he knows. Like, there's got to be a part of you that feels pretty proud about yourself that you can do that.
I would be. And the one that I'm most impressed with is upcoming yet. I'm like, wow, how is that even possible on the bench when he does?
That's the hold too. That's the hold.
Yeah.
And that's we'll get to it. Adrian / Talia Shire thinks it's pretty fantastic. I'm surprised that there was no rumors, or I have never heard anything of any hookups between Talia Shire and Sly.
You don't hear that.
Maybe they just don't vibe.
I know more about Burt Young and Sly. The relationship between Talia and Sly off screen, it's a mystery, and I wonder why. Like, I hear nothing.
That's a good, It makes you kind of think that they're not really friends, but I mean, how could they not be?
No, because Sly did call Talia to say, look, I want to have you in part 6. It's not you, it's the character. I need to kill Adrian to make the story work for part 6. It's got nothing to do with you. He gave her a courtesy call for that.
Yeah, I mean, as you would. I mean, because she's Adrian.
He doesn't have to. They didn't like each other.
I don't think they dislike each other necessarily. I think it's just like they're not friends.
Another level, right? Like, you can like each other, but then it's...
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily, but there was a time when they were both 30 in the first film, and they're both good looking and young. And
well, she in relationships with other people too.
Yeah,
yes, she was. Yeah. But I'm not to say that it has to be quote unquote sexual, but I guess I just really wonder what the secret was between because their chemistry on screen is pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
So I know they're actors. Don't get me wrong. I know they're actors, but I think Burt and Sly got along. I think Sly got a kick out of Burt. He talked about how he had to wrangle Burt in. He was kind of a character. He talks about that. He talks about how him and Carl butted heads, but he used that in the films. Does anyone know? I mean,
he credits her a lot, like Adrian's so integral to the story.
Oh, absolutely. He would be silly to say otherwise. But I wonder if there's two things. Well, I mean, it could be more than two. The two things are they hooked up, they had a good time, and they've just kept it a secret. Like, there's some sort of real connection, but between their spouses and everything else throughout the years. Ixnay on the.
So when you say hook up, do you mean that in like the sex sense, or just like?
I don't know. I gotta wonder if there is some sort of beyond just friendship. There's a real maybe I'm just shipping them off the screen. I don't know, but there's something going on there. I feel like there's more than we're being told, and that's their business. But we can't help but wonder as a public sometimes as fans.
This chat reminded me of remember that show Blossom that had Mayim Bialik in it.
Mm-hmm. Never saw it, but I'm aware of the show, but I never saw it.
Okay, so there was this episode I remember seeing where Talia Shire is in the episode. It's herself.
Really?
Yes, and she's doing casting for something. and Blossom is going there, and it's this scene where she has to do like a nude scene, and she doesn't want to take her clothes off, and it's this big thing. Her Mind Bialik says like "Yo, Adrian" or something like that, and you see Talia Shire just be like, "Oh," like shudder, like
like she's heard it so much.
By it, which I understand that's not really her, like that's just the writing from it. But I thought of that scene.
Oh, I like that tidbit
about her.
Interesting. Okay. I'm sure they're incredible friends and mutual respect and all that other stuff. I'm sure if I did some quick research, there's probably thousands of interviews. Maybe we just always assumed everything was gravy and that's why it's just not news. Maybe that's why, because they just do have a good relationship. So after all the discussion, I'm just going to go with, they're wonderful friends. They get along great. There's just no story there because it's boring because it's just normal and good. But it's more fun to talk about the Carl Sly battles and the Paulie being or Burt Young being a drunk and all this other stuff.
I can see that though. Like Carl and Sly, like they're both
they butted heads.
Dogs. Burt Young is not really like a threat to Stallone's ego,
no.
So it's like he probably gets along with him just fine.
Yeah, that does track.
Without the music, it kind of stinks. But I mean, we're talking about it anyways. We can't really talk over the music. But yeah, this training montage is legit. It's probably the most fun. I will say it's the most fun montage. Is there another montage in the Rocky series that's more fun than the Drago Rocky montage?
This is 100. Oh, this is that. What do you call that? But that is like, I'm like, how? What is he doing? Is that humanly possible? And oh my God, he looks good.
Would you like to rub your hands on that torso there?
Oh,
Katie?
Oh my God.
This physique it's ridiculous. I'm not jealous. I'm envious. I know. I would love if I had it, but I'm not going to work for it. If you just gave it to me, I'd be very happy.
Right. Yeah. Is anyone able to do this? Listeners, do you know someone or can you do this? Whatever that thing on the bench, what is that even called?
I don't know what this goes. That's a good question. I should take a picture of that and put it in a Reddit fitness group to ask what that move is called. I should say, like, I don't want to say, can anyone do this? Because everyone gets really threatened by, I could do that stupid idea. But if I just ask, is there a name for that exercise? I would, let's see if we get a name for it. Here's Burt Young or / Paulie, looking at the slide going, how the hell is he doing that?
In disbelief.
And the agent's like, well, we may not know what it is, but we'll be betting that later tonight.
Oh my God. The luckiest lady on the planet.
Still Adrian or Talia, she looks great here. She looks fantastic. Look at her nose and bone structure in her cheeks and nothing done to her face, no surgery.
I know she's born with perfection. Like her features are perfect.
Wrinkles, like she has creases as she ages. Like she's 40, 42 here. Like just age. It's okay. You have women, as you know, and men too, but mostly women getting facial stuff done in their 20s and 30s. You're still young. What are you doing?
Yeah, I see it a lot. Like just being out and about, brunching downtown, and the 25-year-olds with their lips and everything. I'm like, what are you doing?
Ironically, I think it ages you.
Yeah. You
look older when a 25-year-old does face work. Now they look like they're 50 trying to look 30. It's weird. I don't know. That's my anti-surgery plug. So now Drago's punching harder than he ever did before. It's up to 2,000 pounds per square inch. So Rocky's doing that rope thing. Did he ever do the rope dope type exercise previous to this film?
No, I don't think so.
But isn't that like a classic?
Yeah, that's legit. And he gets Adonis to do that.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was wondering if he did it before. So here we go. Drago.
Wow, they just like rammed that needle in, man.
Is this new?
I think it is. The skipping part's new here. Yes, it is. The back and forth, like a whip.
And he doesn't have a shirt on at all.
No.
Because a lot of times he has that tank top on. Boy, we get so many shots of the shoes.
Yeah, man. Adidas paid good money for that, I'm sure.
Now, I'm not a training expert or whatever, but when Sly or / Drago, they do these heavy lifts. Of course, Drago with the weights, Sly with the carriage cart, lifting up the people in the cart equivalent.
Look at his veins.
Yeah, he's beast mode now. But I would be a little bit nervous. Like you could injure yourself. Maybe I'm just wrong, but like this powerlifting before a fight, could this not injure you?
Yes, it could. I think for Drago's team, they're probably very closely monitoring his form and technique and everything like that to make sure he does it right. Because I think that's where most of the injuries come from, is if you fuck it up and do it wrong. But you're right, though. Even then, even if you don't do it wrong, there's still a chance.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb to do that much powerlifting
That's what I mean. Like, it seems like a lot of.
I do want to point out, though, that car slid because it's a sedan. An SUV wouldn't have slid into the snowdrift like that.
Because it's 4-wheel drive? Is that why?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they have SUVs in the Soviet Union in the 80s, though.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is the classic moment. And I will say this again. Say what you want about Rocky 4, about it being cheesy, director's cut versus the original cut, the robot, no robot. It doesn't matter. All this doesn't matter because this part here of him climbing to the top, and I'm going to play it because worst case scenario, I'm just going to play it out. Worst case scenario, if it gets blocked on YouTube, I'll just snip it out. If it doesn't, we get to watch and hear it because I just need to hear him yell Drago when he gets to the top. This is like very good editing. The cutbacks, the swirling around the helicopter. That is Sly at the top of this mountain running. That's him. He would not have got a stunt double. That is him doing it. That's his stature. That is Stallone running on this mountaintop. And it's pretty fantastic. Got the helicopter flying around. No drones at this time, so it'd be a helicopter. He's like, Philly steps and they're nothing.
These are the steps.
These are the steps. Well, he puts his arms up in the air just like he did in part 1.
Yeah, good point.
What? And the little cue to the old school music, Vince Nicola cueing Bill Conti's theme there. Put his arms up in the air just like he does at the top of the stairs. And then when he yells Drago, yells at Drago, he's got that Tarzan yell in his voice that Sly seems to have. And it's a really powerful moment in the film. I'm not going to lie. This is the warrior cry.
Mm-hmm.
There's hands open in the air. Hands are open. Love that.
As the sun is setting, which is the worst time to be at the top of a mountain. You got to get back down now.
Yeah, it's like the awkward. They don't show the awkward descent where he's like,
he's going to slide down his bum, have a sled ride down.
No, that's a great shot. Great shot.
The helicopter pulling away, the sun come down, that Sly at the top of that peak yelling. I love that. I love his Drago yell. When Sly does that yell, he must be in the studio. Obviously, it's ADR, right? That's not really, you can't hear on the, you wouldn't be able to hear a thing from there. He's not mic'd up. So he does that in ADR. I would just like to see that footage of him yelling in a mic to have that yell. I don't know. I kind of think that'd be cool to see.
I also want to point out the version where we're seeing Drago with the elevated treadmill. I always thought that was really, really well done. Drago or Dolph's acting, you feel his pain and how hard it is.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
Agree. His exertion. We played a clip of it before of just his squealing of pain. Like, we're led to believe that. I know this is the way it's edited, but we're led to believe, as the way the edit is showing us, the audience, is that when the treadmill reaches its peak height or whatever, Drago can't do it. He looks like he's reached his limit. He's given up. We're seeing here in that moment that Drago is tapped out of his exercise, but Rocky has continued. He could have done this exercise 5 hours ago. It doesn't matter. But the point is, with the edit, we're led to believe they're doing this at the same time, at the same level of energy, that Rocky's climb up the mountain equals the same amount of energy of the treadmill. But Drago tapped out, but Rocky kept going. That shows you that he went the distance. He can just go that much further than Drago, which will come into play, of course, in the fight. That Rocky just has that much more in the tank. It's a smaller tank, but he has a little bit more in the tank. It's a much smaller. But that's what it's showing us, and it works as a fact. Look, Sly is the editor of this film. He's the director of the film. He is a master montager. This guy can montage a Rocky film. Oh, we did trivia, but that's okay. We won't for the sake of time, because you do have a hard out, so that's fine. And we're nearing the end of it anyways. So yeah, we won't do the trivia. So that's it, guys. We got through it. I'm really excited. We got through the training montage. I believe, the next sequence is the fight. That will be 2 episodes. I don't think it's good. I don't want to rush it in once. We'll just break it up. We'll probably do it up until we'll figure it out. Probably up to when that musical cue kicks in, when that montage part kicks in. We'll make that part 2. So I think it's probably how we do it. And we'll end that one. So yeah, probably just 2 more episodes of this season, if you can believe it. It's coming to an end.
I do think we've taken our time with this. Like, it took longer than we all thought. Partially, though,
cut.
Yeah.
So I was going to suggest, if you guys are okay with the call, if you're okay, I think it would be good, because we've already done it with on Going the Distance podcast. We did do the original cut with the original fight. I think it might be worth just doing the director's cut for the fight, because it's more or less the same fight, but there are some really interesting different angles and takes, and it's a different feeling. And I think it might just be because it will take way too long I can't go back and forth between each round. Like, how do I divide it up? Round one, round two. It's too, but if you're okay with that, we'll just do the director's cut of the final fight. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we know the original enough to know how it plays out. He's cut. The Russians cut. All that stuff is there. So the fight, you'll see Kyle, the fighting and the way it's filmed, the way it looks, it just feels a little bit less cartoonish and more brutal to some degree. I think it'll be an interesting discussion. Okay. Well, with that, this episode is over.
I didn't hear no bell.
I just want to say one thing to my wife and home. Yo,